Hey DBS family, good morning. Welcome to DBS This Morning, and I'm your host, Shaka Wooding. All right, it is Thursday, but for those of you who may not remember, this Thursday is actually the end of the week for our 9 to 5 workers because it is Easter weekend. That means we have Good Friday this Friday, and we are off from work all the way up to Monday. That is Easter Monday. So we're kicking off a long weekend at the end of today. All right, so we're gonna start off today's show. I'm really glad that you're joining us. Let's kick things off with our morning news highlights. All right, that is a wrap for our morning news highlights. Thank you so much to our dedicated news team for always keeping us so well informed. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Zane. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Kendall. All right. So, DBS family, before we kick off the rest of the show, we are going to take a quick commercial break, but keep it locked because we will be right back. Welcome back, DBS family. As you know, this week we are exploring everything Easter, everything St. Lucia, everything about what this season means in St. Lucia and what it has been throughout the years. And you know, we have been stepping in with some major cultural icons in St. Lucia who really are what I'd like to call the treasure chest for all the knowledge about what this season has been in St. Lucia. Today we are with Mr. Hilary LaForce, and I feel like he is the right individual to really shed some light on what Easter was in St. Lucia. So good morning, Mr. LaForce. How are you doing?
Thank you. Well, good morning. I'm doing pretty well so far. It's a quite kind of lovely day, and you are lovely people. So I think I'm in the right company.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more about being in the right company. All right. So to start things off, what would you say Easter has been in St. Lucia?
Okay, first of all, to talk about Easter, we must understand what is the significance of Easter. Why we celebrate Easter? It's purely a religious activity, mainly by the Catholic Church. All right, and you recall that less than 50 years ago, the Catholic Church dominated the religious scene in St. Lucia. Almost 95% of people in St. Lucia were Catholics. And just before, after Carnival, okay, there's Carnival, and there was Ash Wednesday. And following Ash Wednesday, what they call the Lenten season began. And this was the 40 years of fasting following Jesus Christ, who fasted, for 40 days rather than 40 years. And it ended up on Good Friday, okay, after he was actually crucified. And 3 days after he died, he resurrected. So Easter was like a rebirth of Jesus Christ. And so there are some symbols like eggs, as we say, the Easter eggs, which signifies the rebirth, as well as Easter bunnies, the rabbit, which also signifies the rebirth. So these were traditions that were kept during that time. Of course, it is not as widespread as in the past, but it is one of the things that you remember that Easter, you had Easter eggs, and that's after the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Okay, and now as part of that celebration, there's a church service. There was, everybody looked forward to that day, looking after having remained quiet, because in those days, there was absolutely no activity in terms of parties, no dances, not even music. Music was purely calm religious sounds. There was no calypso played on radio. People were not supposed to play any kind of party music. All right? Now this has changed. People play party music anytime, whether be it during the Lenten season or any time of the year. So that was how seriously that was being observed. And the day, of course, or during that time, there were a number of other activities in terms of games. There was something called the Wawa. Now, you probably heard about this, or if you've ever seen it, it's something like it's like a little box, and you turn it around and it makes a noise, and they call it a Wawa. That is one of the traditions. There's also the tradition of playing something called kochi. Now that was played with nuts, the cashew nuts, the local nuts that were grown. Although now it's almost in extinction. There are not as many nuts as before. But as children, as myself, as a child, we collected these nuts and we play a game called kochi. And in so doing, you put free nuts to each player. It is actually you take soursop, the seeds of soursop, you cut them in two. There's a black side and the white side, and you play like you're playing dice. And if all the black side comes up, then you win, you're a winner. Similarly, if all the white side comes up, you're also a winner. So that was a Kochi game for the around, and it happened around that time of the year, around Easter, and the people would then roast their nuts and enjoy it and so on. And they would some people take the nuts, pong it, put farine into it, and as well as sugar, and they call it chil bibi. That was the name that they used at the time. Now we hardly see this. It's a long time I haven't seen that or tasted it. All right, so that's one of the other games. The other game that we played in those days was the kite flying of kites. Okay, kite flying, was a common thing in those days. So we flew kites as part of that celebration. Another one that was kind of, let's say, illegal, but it was being done regularly, and that was cockfighting. Cockfighting took place around that time. Most of the people who love cockfighting were all about the place having their cockfighting games, of course. They call it a game, but it's of course, but it's being played for money and so on. All right, and so these are the major games at the time that we knew. All right, now the aspect of kite fighting and kochi, that is gone. I haven't seen that for a long time. In fact, not even nuts you see in abundance as in those days. So these were the traditions that were held during that time of Easter, and of course everybody looked forward to it. It's during the dry season at the time. This is why it's called Karem. Now Karem actually means the actual church services or the church ritual, but Karem means it's actually happening in the dry season. When from the time you see February begins, it is exceptionally dry right down until May, and come June the rains begin. So in a nutshell, that was what Easter was all about, how we celebrated the Easter. Of course, ensuring that all of us went to the church service. Our parents ensured that we were properly dressed and went to the church service. We saw what is called the Easter Vigil in the night before and to the big day. And the other aspect of it was the food. That part of it is very, very important because that is when you get the best of meats in those days. Now, beef was the thing in those days. Okay, stewing of beef was what we look forward to. Today is chicken. Chicken seems to be the most popular flesh to eat. But in those days, it was beef and some pork. But beef was the major. It was the king as far as meat is concerned. And so everybody looked forward to some stew meat. And you probably would have the local vegetables, dashin. There was also sweet potato, plantain, and so on, and that made a very good meal. I myself used to like my dashin, love this dashin, and your peas, red beans, and so on. That made a good meal for that day. So that was basically what Easter was all about. Unfortunately, lots of the traditions have gone away, out of the window, and we're hoping that at some point we can rekindle that aspect of our Easter.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, just listening to you describe it's like a movie's unfolding in my head about what Easter was in St. Lucia. And I remember even with me as a kid that the Kite Festival was a major aspect of Easter. And then they'd go around to all the schools and put out the flyers, and all the kids know, I need to tell mommy and daddy, we have to pass by MNC, we have to pass by SNS, I need my craft supplies for me to go out and build my kites. But that has been lost. We have to lament that has been lost.
You're quite right. In fact, it made us very creative because everybody was involved in building of kites. We had what they call the box kite and the kite with the tail and so on. And we used to look forward to building of all the nice colors, kite paper and what they call crepe paper. But you hardly see these things again. And we used it was what we used at the time, starch, to stick the paper onto the frame. The frames were usually made with coconut, the coconut palm, the dry stick. You clean out all the the leaves on it, and then that was used for the skeleton of the kite. Very interesting in those days, very creative. We didn't have the amount of toys that we have today, but we created our toys.
I know you mentioned the Wawa earlier. Now, I think we can tell there's a bit of an age gap here. So I don't even recognize what a Wawa. And I'm thinking that compared to the kids of today, I have a lot more knowledge about what Easter was and a lot more experience with Easter in St. Lucia. But to tell you, things had died down so much from when you were a child compared to when I was little, compared to what the children of today are seeing.
Exactly. Of course, a lot of what was done in those days and is no more. And again, as I said, the creativity, we made our own toys. Today, toys are made and people you buy. Of course, we have become more wealthy today, so we can afford to buy stuff in the store for our children. But in those days, our parents were not endowed with that kind of wealth. And so we had to do our own thing. We were very creative in doing things. And there's something else which we did in those days too, tops. We made our own tops, and did playing of tops. And there was a game they called Topi Chichilik, one to see one fee, meaning that if your top touch my top, you put your top down and I will hit yours, and try to split it in two. And that was part of the whole game.
I feel like Javon and I have a couple of activities to try out following this discussion. I think Javon and I, we need to make a round in town and gather our materials for us to go make our wawas and for us to plan some games. Not any gambling, but maybe we might bet some cookies or some Easter eggs or
Yes,
something.
exactly. Yes, you can do that. Yeah, especially the Easter egg. Now, don't forget the Easter eggs were colored. They're all different colors. All right. So that is part of the tradition. You color the interest eggs. And in terms of the bunny, not many rabbits around these days. So, or if you're so you can have your rabbits around your bunny. For the significance of that celebration.
All right, DBS family, let's just put out a resounding thank you to Mr. LaFosse for being here with us today and sharing all this great information and giving us so many ideas for Easter crafts that we need to carry out this year. Mr. LaFosse, I just want to ask, before we wrap up, do you have any message for maybe the parents, the grandparents out there who would have knowledge of what Easter was like when they were kids and have not been sharing that with their kids of today?
Okay, I think that it's important that the parents, the older folks who are around, who know of those traditions, could continue to educate the children about it, so that it's part of our culture, and it is something that we need to be able to maintain. As you know, culture is the way of life of our people, and it's not purely La Wars and La Marguerite. It's everything that you do, in your country or in your community. All right, and I think they should attempt to teach our younger folks or discuss it with them, and try to bring back those traditions that we had in the early days, which we enjoyed so very much.
Welcome back, DBS family. We're here with a familiar face. Yes, Nixon Barry is back, so that means a new episode of Crossroads is on the horizon, and it is actually going live tonight. So what's up, Barry? How have you been, and how are things looking for this evening?
I'm doing good, and I can tell you Crossroads has been very busy. We're getting ready for our third episode. Our second episode was aired on March 17th. I mean, we spoke about the launch and so forth. Great success, great reviews. And tonight we're getting ready for another explosive event. And we're having Deshaun Augustine, a.k.a. T Blacks. I mean, the guy is just great. He has a wonderful voice. He has a great story to tell. And I believe that St. Lucia and the world should tune in tonight to get piece of the action and understand the making of Deshaun Augustine and some of the things that he has to offer.
All right, Deshaun Augustine, definitely a member of the DBS family. I mean, he made the best of his DBS endorsement, like I like to say, and he secured the title of Mr. World Intercontinental. And we have also seen that he is expressing his musical talents in a new way recently with his own soca music. So, are those aspects that we're expecting to delve deeper into tonight?
Certainly, I mean, beyond his soca music, the guy is an entrepreneur. He's into live performances. He has a band. As you mentioned, he just won the Mr. Intercontinental. So there is quite a lot to explore than what meets the eye. He also works a full-time job, so I think you really have to dive in his time management and how he's able to do all of that. He certainly is an example for young people to follow.
Absolutely. And when you think of examples, sometimes the people that we're looking to for examples are usually older than us. But Dishon is 22 and he's really serving as a role model for young men. I mean, young people in general, because I take some notes from him as well in terms of time management and, balancing everything out. And I could only imagine from my own interactions with him, with our interviews, they're always so positive. So working with Dishon behind the scenes must be such a great experience for Crossroads.
Certainly, I mean, I personally have been inspired because, of course, we've had to do some of the pre-recorded content for Crossroads, and just diving into his story certainly has inspired me. And I know that St. Lucia and perhaps even the world will be inspired by what Crossroads is going to offer on Dishon this evening.
All right. So, for anybody who is just tuning in or did not get to catch our last interview on Crossroads, how exactly can they get involved this evening?
Well, Jacka, we are live this evening on NTN and Facebook. The link will also be shared on the Ministry of Youth and Sports Facebook page, so young people can get involved. There's a lot of prizes to be won. We do have some sponsorship from KFC, and I mean, somebody won last week. We've had winners in our last episode, sorry, and we do have more prizes to give away. Questions, we will facilitate questions through the comment section on Facebook. So if you have a question for Dishon and you want to get to know more about him, you can come tonight and type your questions on Facebook, and we'll be able to relay them live on set. And this is what Crossroads is about. It's about connecting young people in all different ways using technology.
All right, DBS family, you have the information. We will put up the links, the usernames up on the screen so that you can head on over to the Facebook page, head on over to the YouTube, and get involved in Crossroads. It's a major movement happening right now for young people. And I mean, you don't have to be under 35 to get involved. You could gather the whole family and be part of the discussions, because something I like to say is that young people do require advice along the way. And there might be questions for Dishon that we might not even think of. That the responses would be very beneficial to young people in St. Lucia. So I hope to see you all there. But before we scoot on over to Crossroads, Barry actually brought along some more members of his team who are making things happen. So let's be back in a flash. We're checking in with Sasha and McLean. All right, DBS family, right now we're here with Sasha and McLean from the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports. And like I mentioned, they are instrumental members on the Crossroads team. So let's just find out a bit about their involvement. Good morning, guys. How are you doing?
Good morning. I feel great and I'm really happy to be here.
Good morning. I'm also great and happy to be here.
All right, Sasha. So give us a look behind the scenes. How are you involved with Crossroads?
Okay, well, I'm employed with the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports. I'm a youth worker responsible for Castries East. And when given the opportunity to work on the committee, the Crossroads Committee, I was enthralled. I was super excited. I figured it was a great initiative and we would reach a lot of young people who don't really get the opportunity to get out there. So I jumped on board and it's been uphill since then. It's been a lot of hard work, but the team we have is really innovative, really excited, full of motivation. So I think that it has a long way to go. So, yeah.
All right, and speaking of innovation, I know that McLean is a new member to the team, but he has hit the ground running, and he is really the one behind a lot of the graphics and the pre-recorded content that we are seeing on Crossroads, and you could definitely look out for when you see the production coming out tonight. Just know this is the young man behind it. So McLean, what's your involvement with Crossroads been like, and how would you say that you find your ideas to put these videos together?
Well, my experience has been great so far. I have a great team. We get to go out and shoot, do what I do, what I love. As you said, I'm responsible for the graphics, the video editing. My experience has been great. I work with a great motivational set of people. Um, Truly, where I get my ideas is from what I see outside. I shoot my content, take extra content, and when I load it up into my editing app, the magic goes on from there. It just flows with my fingers.
All right, and magic for real. We're seeing such great quality content coming out from the Crossroads team. All right, so let me put you guys on spot a little bit as young persons yourself. How would you encourage persons to watch Crossroads? If you had to put out an ad for Crossroads or tell your friends, hey, you should really watch this program, what would you say to them?
Well, the show is from young people for young people. Since we are part of y'all, we know basically what y'all need, what would be entertaining for y'all. So advise y'all to take a look, take a watch, and
Be part of Crossroads. All right, and what about you, Sasha?
Well, I would tell young people that although you may have your own ideas, different young people that are on the show may also encourage you and motivate you on how to get started, because you have entrepreneurs, you have artists, you have music, you have all kinds of young people from different backgrounds, so you can also receive inspiration and motivation from the show and win some prizes.
And we definitely love to win some prizes. All right, DBS family, I don't think you need any further encouragement. You know that Crossroads is the place to be tonight, 7 p.m. on the dot. That's on NTN, Facebook, and on YouTube. We're looking forward to seeing you there.
Started as a sinner, now I'm saved. Riding with my God feels great. Never limited to giving praise. On and off the stage, I rep him anytime, any place. Grace, preach through my life, no podium. Made more precious than rhodium. I got a sin phobia, sole deo gloria. Season of this world like sodium. Turn up the lyrics, you gotta pay attention. See the reason why I do this ain't too numerous to mention. Got a heavenly relation, check it in my conversation. Wait, breathe. God is so amazing. But it's time to hit the road. Where the spirit leads, I'ma go. And where would I be if not for his grace? I don't know, let the redeemed of the Lord say so. Yo, cause I'm tryna make a life. That's why I touch the mic. I'm about to put gas in my bike and go full throttle all night. Because I choose to ride till the day I die. I know where I'm going. I choose to ride till the day I die. Cause I know where I'm going. Check it. Folks don't understand. Nah, they be like, hey, you trippin', you trippin'. I know you got a wife, man, with them chicks back flipping. There's pressure on every side, but I'm about God's business. I got no poker face, but I'm going all in this. I was created to worship, that means giving up my life as a living sacrifice. No pun intended, this world is all out of love because God is the only air supply. Jesus, he never ceases to amaze me. How God raised him from the dead and from the cross where he bled. Hey yo, that's just crazy. But I'm about to go dumb, gospel insane, I can't do enough. Yeah, I know the road's tough, but I can't give it up. Cause failure is not in my blood. Because I choose to ride till the day I die. Cause I know where I'm going. I choose to ride till the day I die. This road got a lot of zigzags. Crazy as a roller coaster out at Six Flags. This theory is legit, not like the Big Bang. God's spirit so quick, I ain't gotta think fast. Got blood dripping down from my body. Death threats coming from my flesh, but I got it. With God, I'll be on it. The devil can't hold me. Plus, I'm on the solid rock, so just bring it, jabroni. Yo, traffic so heavy, but I'm going through. Bro, you got a flat tire, what you gon' do? Oh, grace got me covered, that's the whole truth. So, let's go. It's dangerous and strenuous. I'm equipped, but I can't do this. With a helmet of salvation as I ride. Strapped with the truth by my side. Riding in style, focus on the prize. Wind blowing strong, bringing tears to my eyes. I'm trying to stay alive, I know I'm gonna die. It doesn't really matter, cause in heaven I reside. Because I choose to ride till the day I die. Cause I know where I'm going. I choose to ride till the day I die. Cause I know where I'm going.
All right, DBS family, that is a wrap for today's show. But before I invite you to go enjoy the rest of your day, I need to remind you that this Sunday, DBS is putting out a very special production called Easter Around the World. We're doing Easter in a big way by showing you how it is observed in different countries and different cultures. And as you know, we always have the right people to check in to ensure that these experiences are authentic. So you could expect a lot of great things coming out on Sunday. We have culinary demonstrations and more. I'm looking forward to see you then. But like I said, it's the start of your day. So go off and have a great one. I hope you have a safe weekend. And for everybody engaging in Easter activities, have a blast, have fun. Again, be safe. I'll see you all next week.